Hi guys, welcome to video number 154. This video is on rotation. It's one of the 4 transformations that we're going to learn about in maths. The keywords I've got for you are transformation. That means when a shape has been changed in some way. Okay, the 4 transformations are rotation, reflection, translation, and enlargement. Okay, we're going to learn about rotation first. Rotating means you're going to turn it round, okay? We don't say turning round in maths, we say rotating, okay? Or rotate. And anti-clockwise or clockwise, they are the directions in which you can rotate a shape, okay? So against the hands of the clock, the way they go round, or with the hands of the clock, the way they go round. Okay, so you may find using tracing paper is a very useful thing, and that's probably what I would do when I teach you in class. Give you a piece of tracing paper and say, use the tracing paper to do this, and show you how to do it with the tracing paper. But I'm on a computer, and I don't have access to tracing paper on a computer. So I'm going to do it without a tracing paper here. But you might want to use tracing paper. It is a nice way of doing this. You'll be asked to rotate a shape or describe a rotation. One of 2 things. Okay, in either case, you need to be given or state 3 things. The center of rotation, you could be given or need to state. That's given as a coordinate. Direction of rotation, that's given as anti-clockwise or clockwise, and the angle of rotation, which will either be 90, 180 or 270 degrees. And use 3 things, the 3 things, to perform or describe the rotation is what I've written here. You have to use those things, or you have to say those 3 things about a rotation. Okay, so here's some examples of questions that you may well get, okay, using a method that is not using tracing paper. So rotate shape A, which is the pink one here in the box, 90 degrees anti-clockwise around point P and label it B. Alright, so what I would do is I would choose any one of these points here on the shape A, any one of the vertices of shape A. Okay, I'm going to choose this one here. Alright, and if I can, there you go, just make a little mark on it. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom in for you to this one. Zoom out again because that's not the greatest zoom in. There we go. And hopefully you can see that. I'm probably down in the corner here somewhere. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to draw some lines on there. Alright, so I'm going to draw this line on here. It goes across 1 square and then up 2 squares, and I've hit that vertices of the shape. Now what's happened is I've created an L shape here. Okay, now I'm going to think about rotating that L shape 90 degrees anti-clockwise. So this horizontal line that's going from, well, in an east direction, right? It will be facing up. It will be a vertical line because it's going to go 90 degrees anti-clockwise. Okay, so we're going to turn it so it's going to go there. All right. Now this line that was 2 squares up is going to be 2 squares horizontal to the left, west. Okay, so we're going to be going over there, and that is where that little dash there that I made on the shape, that's where we can make that little mark there. Okay, now then I would be going, so you see that 2 squares up there, it's another 1 square up to get to the other vertices there. So if I just followed along here, I could just go, well, that's where my other corner of this shape's going to be. Okay, and then to get across this 3 squares here, I'm going to have to go 3 squares down. It's rotated 90 degrees. Okay, in an anti-clockwise direction, so against the clock hands. Okay, and then 1 square across here. Okay, so it requires you to be slightly visual, this way of doing things. And let's see if I can just draw that with a different color. All right, there we go. So there's that to that, that to that, and that to that. All right, and that is our shape B. All right, and I'll just label that one B. There you go. All right, that shape has rotated 90 degrees in an anti-clockwise direction, and you can get it done using this L shape here and rotating that L shape. Like I said, it might be useful to use tracing paper. If you're using tracing paper, get the tracing paper over the shape. Make sure it covers the point here as well. Put a little north line pointing up. All right, draw the shape on the tracing paper. Make sure that's nice and neat. All right, and then put your pencil on the tracing paper here over the point of rotation, and then rotate it whatever it tells you to. All right, and then you'll see that it moves to this position here, and once it's moved to that position there, you then press really hard through on the tracing paper, right, and it indents underneath the tracing paper, and then you can draw the shape in the right position. Okay, right, anyway, that's that first one done. Second one, I'll zoom into as well. Rotate the shape C 180 degrees about the point -1, 0.5. Label your shape D. So this is slightly different because we've got it in a grid now rather than just in a box with a random floating point. We've got it in a coordinate grid, x-axis, y-axis. Okay, so I'm just going to plot the coordinate point first of all. So the coordinate point is at -1, 0.5. So go across to -1 and then up to 0.5, and that would be there. That's our point of rotation. Okay, that's our center of rotation. And we're going to go 180 degrees around that point. So again, I'm going to draw a line that goes from, and I like to just draw this shape here, this L shape, like this. Any corner, could go any corner, right? Now that needs to be 180 degrees turned around, all right? Rotated. So it would not be there, it would be there. All right, so we're going to go there, 180 degree rotation. Imagine that turning all the way around, boom, there you go. All right, so that point there, if I put a little mark on that corner of the triangle, okay, is now there. That's where that is. All right, and I'm just going to then visualize where the rest of the shape is going to be. So if that point is there, if I draw it in the black, you might not be able to see it. Let's see if I can do a different color. Still go blue because the shape's in blue already. So that point there is there. Then I would need to carry on going up. So I would need to carry on going down by 1 square. Okay. If I went from here to here, then I would be going left or west if you want, right? So rotating that, I'm going to be going right, which is east. Okay. And then I'm going to just join that point to that point and that point to that point, all right, on my rotation. Oh, that wasn't a line tool. There you go. So there you go. There's your rotation. That shape has rotated 180 degrees around that point. Okay. It's not a reflection. All right. Don't get confused with this being a reflection. It's not a reflection. Okay. That has rotated most certainly. Okay. Because this point is over here. This point is over here. And this point is over here. All right. And that's it. All right. That is that one done. I'm going to label that one D with that there if I can. Just nice and neatly, or as neatly as possible anyway. Okay, so let's have a zoom out of that question. All right, again, you could use tracing paper. I'll keep mentioning that just to remind you. Now, this last one, this is a description one. Okay, so I'm going to need my pen for that. All right, moving myself over there. Describe fully the single transformation that maps A onto B. All right, now mapping A onto B is how do you get from A to B, basically, is what that means. All right, so I'm just sorting out the old pen here. So if we're describing it fully, we need to describe it using those 3 things that I mentioned earlier. All right, now it says describe the single transformation. It doesn't tell us that it's a rotation. All right, what you should be spotting already, it is definitely a rotation. All right, it's turned around, doesn't it? Right, so that's the first thing that we would state. It's a rotation. All right, from or about or around. Let's use about because that's what I used in the words up there. About, and then we'll put in the coordinate that it goes around. Right, we'll come back to that in a second because that's tricky. All right, now it's definitely a rotation. All right, it's definitely turned around 180 degrees, so we can say 180 degrees. Right, and we don't have to say a direction. All right, because it could go clockwise or anti-clockwise. It doesn't matter. All right. Incidentally, and this one's for Ollie, if you're watching, a 90-degree clockwise rotation is the same as a 270-degree anti-clockwise rotation. You would get the same result, okay? But it doesn't matter if you say anti-clockwise or clockwise here because it's 180 degrees and it wouldn't matter which way you went, all right? So let's get to the hard bit here, or the more complicated bit. If we look at that point there that I've just highlighted with red dot and this point here, that's the corresponding points, isn't it? They're the points that are the same, effectively. All right, now let's count how many squares down we would need to go down here. So there's 4 squares there, all right, to get to where this point corresponds here. And then to get from here across to here, all right, where it would correspond, that's 4 as well. So I think that our center of rotation is going to be halfway across this line and halfway across this line. So that would be 2 and 2, all right? So I think our center of rotation point is there. Okay, and if that would make, well, that would make sense if we did that. Okay, and we'd see that L shape has rotated 180 degrees. Yeah, doesn't matter what one you go from and to. All right, we're going from A onto B. This is A onto B. All right, so I'm going to say that is 2, 0, isn't it? That coordinate value. All right, across 2 and then up or down nothing. So 2, 0 is our center of rotation. You can see that as well from the other points. So if we choose that point there, that's our corresponding point on shape B. All right, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 squares up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares across. So 3 squares and 5. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get that same point. All right, I'll just get rid of that work in there. Right, you don't need to see that bit necessarily. That's just me confirming that that is definitely our center of rotation point. That's a bit tricky to find. You could find that using a kind of stabby method with your compass, pencil, and piece of tracing paper. Anyway, that's rotations in a nutshell. Well, not a nutshell, in a video. So please do like, subscribe, and practice, most importantly, this particular skill. Use the link in the description. I'm going to be providing loads of stuff for you. This is going to become pretty big, I think. I've got some big ideas for you. So I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're using it and learning from it, most importantly. Just a bit at a time, just one step at a time. You don't have to do loads. All right. So take care of yourselves. Look after one another. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you in the next one.